Dear Father, please, my heart is aching. Took a lot out of me to run from Satan. Everything got sold, everything got taken. But this life I know, this life I know it. This life I know, this life I know it. You better watch your soul, keep one eye open. They say I'm chosen, they say I'm chosen. Boy, you better watch me close, my water frozen.
Hello, everyone, to the third installment of For the Love of God podcast. I am your host, Sarah Blair, and today we have a wonderful guest from the New Jersey branch, Miriam. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I am okay.
Good.
I'm very, very excited to be here today.
Yes.
I was just like, oh my God, when you told me that this was happening, I was like, yes. Yes.
Good. You know, here at For the Love of God, we like to shake things up. So you never know who our guest is going to be.
Right.
So I'm so happy to have you on the show today, Miriam.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Good. And happy belated Passover. I know we had that.
Yes, you too.
Thank you. We had that in the past couple weeks. I hope yours was good.
Yes, mine was very, very good. How about you?
Really good. I really enjoyed all of the conversation we had. It was almost epic. Like, not almost,
For sure.
it was epic.
Yeah, especially because, like, I feel like this might have been one of the best ones, especially after being virtual for so long. I think, like, we're all kind of used to it at this point.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want to, like, stay this way, but I think that we're all in a place where we're like, okay, we know what we're doing.
Right.
You know what's going on. And it was a pretty good year this year. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. So I know New Jersey branch for the first time gathered in person for the first night.
Yes, and you guys did too.
Yes.
Congratulations.
It was awesome. It was so great to see old brethren, new brethren, just to see our nation grow was amazing.
For sure. Just being able to come together again despite all the adversity that's been going on over the past couple of years. It was definitely like kind of humbling, and also just like reminded me of when we were able to do it. And you definitely like took that for granted before all of this happened. But to be able to do it again and come together again with something definitely crazy and definitely something for the books.
Right, exactly. Making history. That's how we like to do it here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Make some history. Okay.
Yeah, we should.
All right, so let's head on to our first segment of today's show, Under the Bushel. This is where I put you guys on to stuff that I think is pretty cool, in hopes that you guys find it pretty cool as well. All right, so this week's Under the Bushel is my favorite artist, E2K. He was actually our last guest on episode 2, so check that out if you want to see our interview of him. But yes, E2K dropped an EP last Friday. It is called right? Did you listen to it?
I did. Okay. I got the chance to listen to it.
Good.
And I was on the train when I heard it the first time.
Okay.
And I was like, I had to fight the urges to like get up and start jumping around and have a good time, because I wouldn't want people looking at me on the train like, what is she doing? But it was so good. Like, it's so crazy because E2K is one of those artists where you're like, you know, been there from the beginning.
Right.
So it's just like hearing the evolution is just so insane.
Right.
So it's definitely like an amazing listen. So if you haven't heard it yet, go out on Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever, and go listen to it. It's definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it. And the EP is called Alone with Anxiety. And just based off the title alone, I feel like it's just so relatable to kind of what, you know, people are going through now as far as like mental health awareness and making sure we're all like doing well. Alone with Anxiety. Like, I feel like, I mean, I have anxiety sometimes. I know what it feels like to feel alone. Sure. So
yeah, like anxiety is kind of crazy, especially like with school and finals coming up and things like that, like, and even just personal life, social life, things like that. Like, there's anxiety literally everywhere.
Right.
So the album, the AEP, is very, very, very fitting.
Very, very fitting. Very fitting. I loved it. I listened to it like all the way through, like twice, just trying to feel the vibe. It's amazing. Every song is unique. So definitely check that out, as Miriam said, on all streaming platforms. And also check out the visual on YouTube as well on E2K. Yeah, check that out. All right, so awesome. So our second segment of today's episode, you're gonna help me do it, okay? So it's one word we say twice, and you're just gonna say it as like a statement, and I'm gonna say it as a question, and I'm gonna go first. Okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, the word is word. Yeah. All right. Okay. Word. Exactly. Let's do it one more time. I wasn't feeling the energy. Okay, ready?
Okay. Word.
Exactly. It's word. And that's when we kind of, go over the past week's lessons online. Okay. So this Friday lesson, it was awesome. It was walking the straight and narrow the right way with Elder Dexter and Elder Denise. It was amazing. So they talked about the best way we can serve the God of Israel and keep on the straight and narrow, which I feel like we should all, tune in, because that's something we definitely want guidance on, especially from our elders.
For sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, like, how old you are, or
right,
how long you've been in the nation. I feel like we all need to get that lesson.
Right, exactly. We need a little spurt, little energy in those topics. Yes, definitely. And then the Saturday lesson was Priest Kirk and Priest Tyrone on the importance of building a nation brick by brick.
Right.
It was awesome. So definitely check those out.
Quality content.
Quality. Files. Definitely. So definitely check those out. Of course, they're online on the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries YouTube channel. Check them out live Fridays at 7:30 Eastern and Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Right. Okay. So let's move on to our next segment of today's episode. What's poppin', yo?
Okay.
What's poppin'? This is getting to be my favorite segment. I love having conversations with our guests about interesting topics.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So speaking of interesting topics, Miriam, you are in school, right? You're in college.
Yes, I am currently a sophomore at Rutgers University here in New Jersey. I go to the New Brunswick campus of the university.
Awesome. Wow, you're a sophomore. Wow. Seems like yesterday you were just like, getting into college, and now you're a sophomore.
So crazy, because it doesn't even feel like it, because my first year was spent like online. So it's just kind of weird that I'm finishing my sophomore year and going into my junior year. Like, it just doesn't feel real.
Right. Right. Unreal. So what are you studying? What's it like kind of going to your school?
Right now I am studying psychology in hopes of becoming a child and adolescent psychologist. So right now I'm taking classes like developmental psychology, child and infant psychology, things like that. And it's really, really interesting. The environment at my school is, I don't really know how to describe it. Like, there are a lot of different people that go there, a lot of different energies that are around all the time. Like, you have your frat guys and your sorority girls, but then you also have, like, it's kind of like high school, actually. When you, like, really think about it, it's like high school, but just, like, 10 or 15 times the amount of people.
Really? Okay.
But it's just, like, you really just have to find your community, because it can be really hard, because my school's really big, to find, like, the people that you can vibe with and the people you like spending time with. But once you do, like, it's pretty cool. And, like, my school makes sure, like, we have our Black Student Union, NAACP, West Indian Association, and things like that. So definitely makes it easy to find your people, but you also definitely have to like look for them as well.
I see. So it's my understanding that Rutgers is a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution. Is that kind of hard to, navigate as a Black person in America, as a Jacobite in America?
Yeah, for sure. And especially because there's also a very large Asian population that goes to my school. So African Americans, Jacobites, Black people are very much, we're kind of always the minority, but it's definitely like, you can definitely see it here at my school. So trying to find them, like I said before, I used NAACP and the Black Student Union to find the people that I really wanted to spend time with.
Right.
But the school makes those clubs and organizations readily available to its students to make it easier to find them. So,
Good. I'm glad that the school is kind of taking into account that, tense between different communities, that little tense situation between different communities, and trying to like actively gather them together and make sure, people are like getting along and things like that. Yeah. So, you said you're a sophomore, you kind of, your ropes right about now. What kind of advice would you give to other kids out there trying to go to college, especially as an Israelite, just trying to navigate that world for the first time?
I would say to definitely lean on your Israelite peers that are going through the same things, or even lean on those who are past it and who have done it. I definitely need to take my own advice more. But I find that, talking to people who have the same experiences makes it easier because you don't feel like you're the only one going through that experience. Like, especially being a Black person, like you're already a minority, but being an Israelite, you're literally the only person, unless you're going to school with like another Israelite.
Right.
So making sure that you talk to other Israelites around the same age or other Israelites that are going through the same thing, to make sure to ease your mind and know that, you're not the only person going through it. I would say like that is something that I would do.
I love that. Yeah. So definitely if you're out there and you're feeling kind of alone with anxiety, that's a pun to Ezra's EP.
Yeah, shameless plug.
Shameless plug. But seriously, if you're feeling kind of alone and you're kind of just, wanting to feel some comfort, definitely takes Miriam advice and, find someone that's in your same situation and, just lean on that person.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. So thanks for that advice. That's actually pretty good advice. This past year, I have been getting very much into like dating shows, those, The Ultimatum. I think that's a newer one. Love Island, Love is Blind, things like that. Do you watch any of those?
Yes, I did watch Love is Blind. I watched both season 1 and season 2.
Oh, cool.
And then I recently got into The Ultimatum. I tried watching Love Island, but I could never really like get into it.
Yeah.
But like Love is Blind and The Ultimatum are 2 shows that I got into. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I actually really, really loved Love Island. I don't know why. Maybe it was the accents because I would watch the British version. Probably. Now that I'm thinking about it, it probably was the accents.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just thinking about like the different phrases that they would use. But like I know that dating shows in general, they're very fast paced, almost like surface level dating, right? Like a rite of passage type of perspective. I just think it's interesting kind of, looking at it because it's like phrased or portrayed as a reality show. And it's just interesting looking at it from the perspective of like an Israelite. And in our culture, dating is slower paced. It's genuine. it's more involved, and we kind of guided by our elders. Kind of like, what do you kind of think about watching these shows? What do you take away from it, knowing that you kind of have a different dating culture?
I think that I appreciated the show Love is Blind because, especially in Israel, like, we do not focus on the physical when we are talking about relationships, especially ones that are just starting. We really make sure that people get the time to get to know each other on an emotional, like, spiritual level before we can even get to the physical.
Right.
So I thought that show was really interesting because they did that. Like, they focused on the emotional connection that one person could make with another. And the whole premise of the show was to see if, emotional connection could get you through whatever, or is it just, like, based on the physical?
Right.
So, like, even with Israel, how we, really put a precedent on emotional and spiritual connections. I like that they did that in Love is Blind, but in other shows like like The Ultimatum, and things like that, or like even like a show like Too Hot to Handle, like they're definitely based on very short periods of time to like get to know people, see them as a person. And like something that I think is interesting is that like in relationships, and when you're just starting out in a relationship, like who you actually are isn't going to be the person that you make yourself out to be. And like the first maybe like month or two of getting to know someone. And I think that with those shows, like people fell in love with the idea or the what is it, like the representation of what this person could be to them,
right?
But not like the person,
right?
So like watching it as an Israelite is just like, that's nice and all, but like, are these things really gonna last? Like, you guys have only been talking for like a week or two,
right?
And now you're like expected to be together forever. And
right.
It's just like, I don't even know who you are outside of this resort or this retreat that we're part of. So I think it's just really interesting, like seeing it and like thinking, how can I apply it to my life and see how it's just like two different things.
Right. I think that that's really, really, really good insight that you just brought in, how it's hard for me to take it for face value, like this is real, because I'm a person, right? And I've interacted with people, and it's just hard to believe that that these are honest feelings that you are seeing on camera, right? Like that's what's happening is real.
And especially because it's on camera, like, right? If it were real life and you were just getting to know the person, like without all of that, like, okay,
right?
But like because there are cameras there, it adds like that extra pressure,
right?
To want to get to know someone, because even in like a show like Too Hot to Handle, like they'll kick someone off the show if they don't make a connection,
right?
So there's that extra pressure to even want to make sure that you're in the cast and stay on the show,
right?
So you want to make that connection with someone as fast as you can, so that, you're in the running to even get the prize money or make that connection or whatever.
Right. I do think that these type of shows, they're because I just don't like that they're portrayed as kind of reality shows. You know what I mean? Because it gives a false sense of what a relationship is supposed to look like. And especially when you're growing up watching these shows, and there's so many that came out these past few years that are just blew up the internet and everything. And when you're coming up and you're seeing this as like representation of what dating life should be like, it's not very accurate. It's not very ideal, not at all, right? And like you were saying, like they're kind of playing a role, and but because they're playing it like it's real, you think this is how it's supposed to look like.
This is what it's supposed to be. It's just like, no,
right,
no,
right,
this is an exception to the rule.
Exactly.
This is not what we should do.
It's not it. Sure. I think shows like that make me appreciate my culture even more and our process that we go through. to where, the family is involved, the courting is an idea of courting and getting to know each other. So that, that connection is real and genuine.
Yeah. And the fact that, they give you the time and ability to get to know someone
right
is nice as well. And I don't think that they rush. And when I say they, I mean like the community rushes anyone to make any sort of decision. Like,
right.
It's not like you start talking to a person and then the next month, like, you have to get married.
Right.
But they give you time to get to know the person. And like you said, like with the families, each family gets to know each other.
Right.
So it's not just like you meet, you get married, and that's it.
Right. Right.
Like, it's more than just keeping it in the nation, if that makes sense.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Another reality show out there that it's my guilty pleasure is the Kardashians. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh my gosh.
So you've seen it.
Yes.
Yeah. I love the Kardashians. It's weird because I'm not the biggest fan of the family, but I'm obsessed with the show, especially it came out with the new series of the same family, but a new series on Hulu. And it's so entertaining. It's weird because I like to play it in the beginning of my day, because for me it's very motivational. They do nothing, but they make money doing nothing. And
exactly. And it's just like,
they're hustlers.
What am I doing?
Exactly. It makes you think, all right, they're on their game, I need to be on my game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. Even if their game is doing absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
They're still, doing it. They're still making
moves.
A huge ton of money.
Right.
Off of doing nothing.
Exactly.
So I need to get on my stuff.
Right.
And do something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just I don't even know how to describe it, because like I said, I'm not a big fan of the family.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I respect their go-getter attitude.
Yeah, and not to say they came from nothing and they're, because they definitely had a platform.
Right. They didn't pull themselves up by their bootstraps, really.
Exactly. So they definitely had the platform, but that even teaches you the connections you make are very, very, very important.
Right. Yeah. So we're speaking about reality shows and things like that, and kind of young people looking at this. What would you kind of advise a young person what to take away from reality shows like this that are kind of these absurd worlds, but it's being shown as reality and we're taking it kind of as reality? What would you advise a young person to kind of take from it? What can we learn from these shows?
I would say to take everything for the love of God with a grain of salt.
I see what you did
there.
Yeah.
Because you see it.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, I want that to be me. But it's just you don't know how many years of this person talking to this person and that person making connection with that person and this person coming from this and going to that. There's so many things that go into it, and it's not just oh, one day I can wake up, take a selfie, and it goes viral, and I'm this influencer or whatever, or I get an internship at this place, and the boss really likes me, and I'm the CEO of Google now.
Right.
It's not. It definitely does not come that easy.
Right.
Because there's a lot of editing that goes with these reality TV shows. They say, like you said, they say it's reality, but the amount of editing and filters that are put on everything, it's just that's not everyone's reality. Yeah, that could be some people's reality. That's their reality. But for the rest of the world, that's just not the reality that we have.
Exactly.
So I would say, take everything with a grain of salt and don't let other people's success discourage you And also, don't let it make you go absolutely insane, and don't question why you're not where they are, because there is a lot that goes into that world that you see on television or your laptop or your phone and things like that.
Right. Moving on to our next topic. To kind of introduce this next topic, I'm kind of basing this section off of a manifesto written in the Guardian newspaper by D. Scott Miller in 2009. Just follow with me here and, we'll talk about it. It's kind of an interesting topic that I've been kind of obsessed with this past couple of days after, reading it. And this manifesto is called Call It Afro Surreal. And so this outlines the idea of Afro-surrealism. And this is kind of when films and TV shows are based on actual lived experiences of people, where the experience that is being portrayed is real and disturbing. It seems like organically surreal. To kind of explain, this is often done based off of the Black experience, since our lives, if we were to tell someone that doesn't really know about the Black experience, it's kind of absurd what happens in our everyday life as Black people in America, and how people treat us. It's almost otherworldly, very, very absurd, right? So to give some of examples, Atlanta does this, if you've seen Atlanta, to where the episodes there, you don't actually see those in real life. You'll never see an episode just happen in front of you, but it's touching on ideas and topics that are as disturbing as the episode. Also the movie Sorry to Bother You does this. In Atlanta, it's comedy, and Get Out, it's horror, but it's scary because it's real. Am I explaining this right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely.
And so what does this really well in a comedy is Abbott Elementary. It's a new show that I think it just ended its season, but it portrays the life of a group of teachers that try and navigate the hardships of supporting students in an underfunded, understaffed public school. And it's so real, it's funny, right? It's so realistic to what's actually going on that it's hilarious. So have you heard of the show? Are you a fan?
Yes, I absolutely love this show. I am a huge fan.
Good. Well, for those who don't know, the show is by Quinta Brunson, and you could find it on Hulu, and I think just Hulu. I'm not exactly sure where else. But yeah, so, and she kind of made this show, wrote this show. She stars in this show. She's so funny. How do you like her character?
I absolutely love Quinta. I've been watching her since she was actually on BuzzFeed. And she did she worked there, did skits and stuff like that. Always loved her. Always loved the topics that she did and her skits as well. Very geared towards the Black experience. Right. Which is exactly why I'm not surprised that she is behind a show like Abbott Elementary. Right. I absolutely love her character. I love the way that she just doesn't stop. Yeah. She is literally she has so much color, and she's so passionate, that's the word I'm looking for, about her job and the children. Right. And it's crazy to see her coworkers around her. They haven't given up. They still have the same love for the children. Right. But they're not that they're not as passionate, but they won't go through the same lengths that she would. Right. In order for things like funding to get to the school, or in order for the kids to get, let's say, good school lunches, and things like that. Exactly. But I absolutely love the contrast between each characters, and you can see how each character loves the school, loves the children, and just wants to make the environment better for everyone there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I really appreciate the show. I think it's doing an amazing job, and I'm definitely not the only one who thinks this.
Right. Yeah, I love this show as well. I mean, as you were saying, the character is very a go-getter. It's kind of framed around her life a little bit. And she does go to the extreme to provide for her students. And it's kind of like the ideal teacher in a situation like that, like they're in at that public school. Okay, so the next segment of today's show is a game. Have you ever played Would You Rather before?
I have.
Okay, good. So hopefully you know the rules, but if you don't at home, definitely play along. The rules are just choose a would you rather. So I'll ask a question and you kind of choose either or, which one would you rather do? Okay? Are you ready for it?
Sounds good. I am ready.
Okay. First, would you rather is, would you rather listen to one song for the rest of your life or never be allowed to listen to the same song twice?
Oh my goodness. I can't just listen to a song one time.
Yeah.
So I think that I would listen to the same song over and over again. Because at least I don't know what else is out there.
Right.
So I can't get upset. So I know this song and I'm like, wow,
right.
It's my favorite song of all time. And at least now I'll be able to answer what's your favorite song of all time.
Right.
It's the only song I ever listened to.
Okay. Number 2. Would you rather go back in time and meet your ancestors or go into the future to meet your great-grandchildren?
I think I would go into the future. Because I've read about my ancestors, and they were very stubborn people. And I don't think that I'd want to deal with that. So I think that I would like to go into the future and meet my great-grandchildren or great-great-great-grandchildren, because I feel like they would be a lot more progressive, even more progressive than me.
Right.
And I'd like to get their insight on, how they see things and things like that. So yeah, I think I'd go into the future.
All right. And number 3, would you rather know the date of your death or the cause of your death? Getting morbid over here.
I know, like, oh my God. I think I'd rather know the cause, because I feel like I don't know, because if I know the date, I'll just live in, I don't know, I feel like I just live in fear until that moment.
Right.
Like, because like, what if it's like tomorrow? Then I'm just like, oh my God, like, what if it's in a week? I'm just like, what? So at least if I know how it happens, like, I can avoid it.
Right.
But if it's something like sleep, then it's like,
dang.
What do I do then?
You just never go to sleep.
Exactly, but it's just like, oh my God, I may pass because I'm not sleeping.
Right.
So it's just like maybe I think it's a double-edged sword, but I think that I'd rather know how.
Okay. If you're out there watching, definitely put your answers in the comment or let me know what you guys think about to these questions. I'm so interested in seeing what you guys know for these impossible would you rathers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So for our Let's Get Biblical Yo segment of today's episode, we're going to play a game called Nicknames.
Okay.
Okay. So I will give you kind of a nickname or another name that this person is associated with. And you're going to tell me like the biblical character that goes along with that nickname. Okay.
Let's see if I can do it.
All right. So the first one's an example, right? So if I were to say the first man, you would say.
Then I would say Adam.
There we go. Okay. So you're already like winning it already.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to keep your points somewhere down below. Okay. Mother of Nations.
Is that Sarah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get this next one. Esther.
Hadassah.
Yes. Shepherd turned warrior turned king.
David.
There we go. Okay. You're on a roll here. Dreamer.
Dreamer. Joseph?
Yes. Oh my God. I thought I was going to get you on that one. Okay. Okay.
Wow. I'm impressed.
You're on fire. I'm going to botch this name, but Belteshazzar.
So like Daniel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Woo! Yay! Yeah. Got there eventually. But yes, thanks for playing this game with me. Thank you so much for being a guest on this episode of For the Love of God. Yes, I hope you guys had fun as well at home watching. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. It was so great having you, Miriam.
Thank you. It was great being here. Yes. I hope you guys had a good time too.
Of course. Well, make sure to tune in next time on For the Love of God to see our next guests, next round of games, and our super interesting topics. Okay? Bye. This is your host, Sarah Blair.